Hello, this is Pam Verbarg from the Arc of Greater Boone County, bringing you empowered voices. Today, I'm going to talk about a really exciting topic, funding. I know, but I think this is an important one for people to know a little bit about because I get this question all the time. How are you funded? How does it work? Why do you need to fundraise? So I'm gonna dive a little bit into that today. I'll try to keep it as high level as possible, but hope that it'll help make some of this make a little more sense too. So we do have a variety of funding streams, and for our core programs, and by that I mean our day program and what we call our supported living program, most of those services are funded through a program through the state of Indiana called the Medicaid waiver. And right now, and I stress the right now because the state is in the process of doing some revisions, the two waivers that we work with are one that's called the Community Integration and Habilitation Waiver, and the other one called the Family Supports Waivers. Both of these waivers are administered under the Indiana Bureau of Developmental Disability Services. That's part of the Division of Disability, Aging, and Rehabilitation Services. And those waivers are a little bit different, but in some ways the same, in that they are a split of Medicaid and which is a split of both federal and state funds that help provide the supports for people. And individuals on those waivers have the opportunity to pick an array of services that meet their needs. So that can be anything from someone receiving just day services to adding other things as well. So the state has a whole variety of service codes and terms that they use in that. A lot of those have habilitation or personal assistance in care and transportation and some challenging names in those. But the big requirements of those waivers is that people pick their services, figure out how much time and money they're going to spend in each of those areas, and then are scheduled to receive those services. And those services can be done on site here at our day program, or we also provide those services in people's homes. There are also some services under those waivers that we don't provide as an organization, but are available through other organizations that include therapies, including behavior therapy, recreational therapy, and music therapy. And then there's also case management tied into that as well. And each person who has a waiver has a case manager who acts kind of as the facilitator. Is the easiest way to describe it, is they help that person navigate the services and plan for what they're needing in their days. So that is one of our biggest funding sources today. But we also receive services through vocational rehabilitation. And that program funds our supported employment program, where we provide services and supports to people to get jobs in the community. That program also funds the pre-employment transition services that we provide with the schools. That one is undergoing some changes right now. And eventually, right now, we work in partnership with a collaborative of other providers. And my understanding is that's going to change in the next year to some services that are directly contracted with us. So we'll see some changes coming in that over the course of the next year or so. And I forgot to mention on the waivers, the state is making some changes over the next couple of years. I mentioned the Community Habilitation and Family Supports waiver. The Bureau of Disability Services also runs two other waivers that we are not currently providing, but they are looking to do some streamlining in their waiver system over the next two years to streamline those into one waiver that's a little more comprehensive so that a person doesn't have to go through an emergency or some major life changes to qualify for a higher level of services. So we're looking forward to that. Right now, they're in the process of getting some public opinion and some feedback from people on what that model will look like, but they are in the process of looking at that. We also partner with other agencies to provide some of our day services programs. We work with a couple of group home agencies, and group home funding works a little bit differently. And how that works is the provider agency that provides the group home actually receives all the funding, but then they contract with providers like us to provide for the additional supports like day services. So we contract with several group home agencies to provide some of those services. And we do have the ability to work directly with families for private pay in cases where a person isn't receiving funding to do that. Then I'm going to jump to WIC. WIC is our Women, Infant, and Children program. That is a state-funded program that is administered through the Department of Health. And that particular program, we are the sponsoring agency, and we're kind of the pass-through agency for that. So the staff for the WIC clinic actually work for us, and then we bill the state for those services that are provided. And that is a federal program that is done under the food with the Department of Health, but it also has federal funding through the FDA and other programs as well, and the Department of Agriculture. So it's a little bit more complicated, but just know that those services are there, and it is part of state and federal programming. And then we also are a United Way agency, so we're a community partner with United Way. United Way and many of our other grants actually help us provide services above and beyond what the state programs provide for us today. So the United Way helps us to provide for more nutritional counseling and work with cooking classes and having supplies for the individuals that we support in our day programs. It helps us to provide transportation services over and beyond what other funding covers. And it also helps us to provide the Family Supports Program, which many of you know Allison around town, and that has allowed us to provide some of those services as well. So United Way is an important part of what we do. We also have an important partner with Boone County and state government, which also helps support our programs. And our Community Foundation is also a fabulous partner. With the Community Foundation, we do specific, more project-related grants with them, but we have a small endowment with the Community Foundation, and then they also are very involved with our other programs as well. And in the last episode, I mentioned a couple of their initiatives that we have worked with where we have gotten project grants with them. We have also gotten funding through the Women of Impact program, which they help host, that has helped us do some program improvements as well. So we have a lot of different funding streams that we work with, and then we utilize our fundraising and grants and other programming to further enhance what we do. Many of those programs provide for our staffing and our administration of those programs, but what they don't provide for are things like a lot of the community activities that we're doing, or repair and maintenance on our vehicles and repair and maintenance on our buildings. So where that fundraising comes in and is extremely helpful and critical is helping us do those things over and above how our funding works. And if folks are interested in learning more about our funding, we do have lots of links on our webpage, which has just recently been updated. And we're going to be providing more information on those as we continue to enhance our content on that as well. So that is pretty much the quick summary of our funding and how that works. If you've got questions, though, do feel free to reach out to us at any time. We can help you navigate. We can also help individuals who are looking to apply for services to go through the application process so that they can be partnered up with some of that funding for the future. So again, thank you for joining us today. This is Pam from the Arc of Greater Boone County and Empowered Voices.